The halftime show of the Super Bowl is always one of the most talked about events in American pop culture, but now that Bad Bunny has been announced as the halftime performer from Puerto Rico, doesn't sing in English, it has left many upset. Now, me personally, I think it's foolish. I think you should appreciate whatever art they put out there. He's one of the most streamed people in the world, 90 million monthly Spotify users. He's a gigantic success, and he's an American, right? He's from Puerto Rico. It's an American territory. Well, how about this? We now find out that Turning Point USA is announcing a rival Super Bowl halftime show, anything in English option. Turning Point USA, the nonprofit co-founded by the late Charlie Kirk and now headed by his widow, Erica Kirk, is putting on their own halftime show the same day as the Super Bowl. Now, who will they have? Will they have some like Swedish yodelers or Kid Rock? Will he be there, shooting hand grenades at Bud Light Lime? I have no idea. But there will be celebrating faith, family, and freedom. Look, I always find it funny how some people on the right try to commandeer faith and family as if it's a right-leaning thing, as if there aren't left-leaning faith and family shows out there, or freedom. I mean, what's more freedom than being able to watch a Puerto Rican pop sensation take the stage in the biggest way possible? I mean, listen, but at the same time, I'm all for capitalism, right? If people want to watch the halftime show from Turning Point USA, I say, go for it. I don't care. Will it change the sort of numbers for the halftime show? It'll be like throwing a lawn chair off the deck of a cruise ship. It will not make a difference. Now, don't get me wrong. You might get 1 million people or 10 million people watching the Turning Point USA. I just don't think one's going to cut into the other. People that are going to watch the halftime show are going to watch it. People that are going to go to the bathroom and fill up on their nachos are going to go do that. Some people like the Super Bowl for the commercial. Some people actually watch football, and some do it because it's an event that their boyfriend dragged them to or girlfriend dragged them to, and it's just a cultural moment. It truly doesn't matter. I just find it hilarious so they're asking people, what music genres would you like to see featured? Anything in English is an option, which, by the way, is hilarious because there's been plenty of pop culture songs that, even if they're in English, you don't even know what they're, saying, mumble rap or, whatever. But again, there's always controversy. We saw this play out when Shakira and J-Lo had their halftime show. They danced around in unitards and people went crazy. This is a family program, even though it's at 9 p.m. It's like, I think at 9 p.m. you can wear a unitard. We live in such a puritanical society. We truly do. If you've ever traveled into just about any other country, you'll realize how censored we are on a conservative level. I don't mean politically conservative. I mean culturally. We have a hard time talking about sex. We do purity balls to make sure our daughters don't give hand jobs under the bleachers at a high school football game. It's weird. It's just weird. And I'm not saying I condone any of that. I'm just saying the conversation around pledges and purity rings and what you can say on TV and will Bad Bunny gyrate? Will he have a jock strap on underneath his gym shorts? We don't want to see the outline of anything funny going on. I mean, this is the country we live in. It just is. Well, who will be a part of the halftime show? I'll tell you right now, some folks want it to be Lee Greenwood. Before we get to Lee Greenwood, here's Jennifer Lopez commenting on this. She thinks it's ridiculous. When she hosted the halftime show with Shakira, they actually had Bad Bunny. He's already performed at the Super Bowl halftime show.
Music and art transcends language, right? It doesn't matter. And he's done that probably more than anybody of any generation. He really has.
So for people who are thinking, well, I don't know if it's right.
Well, why don't you the Super Bowl is great because it introduces you to people that don't know you. I'm sure there was people that didn't know me or Shakira or weren't fans of ours. But when they saw us, they go, oh, that's what they do. That's you. Yes. It's an opportunity to show people who you are, what you're about, what you believe in. It's a big platform for artists. It's probably the biggest stage that you could hope to be on. And I think it's wonderful that people will get exposed to him who don't know him.
Yeah.
But will they get exposed, or will they turn the TV off? I'm the same way. I love culture. I've mentioned this. I've been to concerts, or I'll stop by and listen to music that's outside of my own niche of what I like. And I just appreciate it that kind of way. Here's Mike Johnson, and here's his beef with Bad Bunny.
Any reaction to Bad Bunny being chosen as the Super Bowl halftime performance?
I didn't even know who Bad Bunny was, but it sounds like a terrible decision, in my view, from what I'm hearing.
I don't know him, so it must be terrible. Cool. Way to be hip, Mike.
What's that?
How come?
Well, it sounds like he's not someone who appeals to a broader audience, and I think, there's so many eyes on the Super Bowl, a lot of young, impressionable children, and I think, in my view, you would have Lee Greenwood or role models doing that, not somebody like this.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
You would have a nice Southern musician like Lee Greenwood. What's that? He's from Los Angeles. Dang, another liberal out there. So yeah, there's Lee Greenwood, again, an 80-plus-year-old man who sings "God Bless the USA." Nothing against him. He's kind of like the de facto. He does a lot of the national anthem music, and he performs at rallies, and cool, whatever. I mean, look, do that. Sure. Turning Point, have Lee Greenwood. Who the hell cares, right? Just stop putting a stink up about it. Well, speaking of putting a stink up, this story is interesting. California governor candidate Katie Porter, she may have ruined her political ambitions before the plane even got off the ground. She rips staffer in a resurfaced video. The videos are resurfacing because of what she said in a interview that went viral for all the wrong reasons. So here it is. Katie Porter, Democrat candidate for California governor, an absolute meltdown, very abrasive when asked a very simple question.
If you're from a deep blue area, if you're from LA or you're from Oakland, you don't have an experience.
But you just said you don't need those Trump voters.
Well, you asked me if I needed them to win.
So you don't think
I feel like this is unnecessarily argumentative. What is your question?
Yikes. I mean, look at the body language here. Even if you didn't hear what she had to say, what is your question? 2 hands up, like she's guarding her in basketball here. This is the worst WNBA interaction you've ever seen. And it's like, look, it's an honest question. Like, how are you going to win over Republicans in California? Katie Porter's response, kind of simple, says, I don't have to. There's a Democratic majority. I just have to win them. But that's a dumb answer. That's a dumb answer. You want to, be a candidate who's going to be there for the people. Katie Porter, I believe a former teacher and maybe possibly a lawyer, just overly abrasive here.
The question is the same thing I asked everybody, that this is being called the empowering voters to stop Trump's power grab. Every other candidate has answered this question. This is not
argumentative. And I said I support it.
So, and the question is, what do you say to the 40% of voters who voted for Trump?
Oh, I'm happy to say that. It's the do you need them to win part that I don't understand. I'm happy to answer the question as you have it written, and I'll answer it.
And we've also asked the other candidates, do you think you need any of those 40% of California voters to win? And you're saying, no, you don't.
No, I'm saying I'm going to try to win every vote I can. And what I'm saying to you is that...
Well, to those voters. Okay, so you...
I don't want to keep doing this. I'm going to call it. Thank you.
So she calls it because she's caught in this weird moment. I mean, can somebody get Katie Porter a Snickers bar? By the way, she represented plenty of Republican voters. I believe she was in Orange County. I could be wrong. She was the person who would always have the whiteboard, and she would call people out on the military spending. And I loved her for that. But this is such an unforced error. There's some polling that just showed she plummeted after this interview. This is everything that goes wrong. And then to quit on the interview, like, you don't get to quit in real life. You don't get to quit when you're negotiating and doing debates. Like, this is a lot of people have said, like a lot of people I respect have said, this is a eliminating event for her governor run.
Thank you.
You're not going to do the interview with us?
Nope, not like this. I'm not. Not with 7 follow-ups to every single question you ask.
Every other candidate has answered our follow-ups.
I don't care. I want to have a pleasant, positive conversation in which you ask me about every issue on this list.
By the way, they're sitting way too close together to be this abrasive. It's like, you know what I mean? It's like they're literally giving each other shingles or something.
And if every question you're going to make up a follow-up question, then we're never going to get there.
Ms.
And
Porter,
we're just going to circle around.
I am an investigative
I have never had to do this before, ever.
You've never had to have a conversation with
to end
a
an
reporter?
interview.
Okay, but every other candidate has done this.
What part of I'm me, I'm running for governor because I'm a leader. So I am going to make.
So you're not going to answer questions?
A leader who's quitting on the interview. I'm sorry to say, you're done. No donors are gonna give her money after this. She's like, this is such a weak. Okay.
Reporters? Okay, why don't we go through? I will continue to ask follow-up questions because that's my job as a journalist, but I will go through and ask these, and if you don't want to answer, you don't want to answer. So nearly every legislative.
I don't want to have an unhappy experience with you, and I don't want this all on camera.
I don't want to have an unhappy experience with you either.
Well, it looks like you did, and now you're on TikTok. I mean, this went super viral. Now, the thing that I hate about this is now you have people saying, see, this is the left. They aren't willing to. And it's like, no, this is Katie Porter. We don't own her for this moment. And yeah, that's what's tough when you're running for office is your worst moments can just be shown just like that. And, I don't know if it's career ending, but it's certainly not good. So then it brings back moments like this. Here she was yelling at one of her staffers during an interview. And look, you can be, how you treat your employees is really important because how are you going to treat your constituents? Here's what she had to say.
State could lose. Get out of my fucking shot.
I wanted to tell you that that's actually incorrect. It's not that it's electric vehicles. It's that if we don't meet the commitments under the Paris Climate Accord.
Okay, it does. Okay, you also were in my shot before that. Stay out of my shot.
Get out of her shot. Wow, boy, Katie, you're missing your shot at a future in politics. So her staffer comes in just to tell her, by the way, you got that wrong, and I'm just letting you know. And she goes, yeah, but you were in my shot before that part. Yikes. Katie, I'm sorry. I think it's done here. I think you're cooked. So whoever's running against Katie Porter, that's a good win for you. Speaking of small people in power, here we have Magic Mike Johnson. This is him really going off. He was real angry. Like I have a 17-month-old. This is similar to that feeling you get when they're a little tired and they're hungry and they get big mad. Have a listen.
I'm so tired of them playing politics with us and put us in this situation. I'm so frustrated. Y'all know me. I have a very long fuse. I don't lose my cool very often, but I am so sick of them doing this. I'm so sick. Chuck Schumer and the lies. We had a couple of Democrat senators out here earlier. Y'all saw them. A publicity stunt in front of my office making.
Now, the reason he's mad is they called him a pedophile supporter because he's unwilling to do the process, the democratic process of releasing the Epstein files. So whose side do you want to be on there, Magic Mike Johnson? The side of the Epstein cover-up or the side of complete transparency? And when it comes to the government shutdown, here we have Jon Stewart really explaining what's going on.
75 million Americans voted for a Democrat in this last round of presidential elections. And at this moment, they have zero power at the federal level. Not in the House, not in the Senate, not in the executive, and not in the courts. There has not been a moment of conciliation or concern about the issues and policies that drove those 75 million votes. Not a moment. At present, the Democrats' largest victory over these past 8 months is getting a guy who may or may not be a criminal back from El Salvador so Trump could send him to Uganda. That was the big win. And then suddenly, a small ask for people's preservation of health care is a Molotov cocktail. Because apparently Republicans won't be satisfied with 99.8% domination.
I mean, that's all the Democrats are asking for with this shutdown is promise in writing that people will maintain their healthcare subsidies so their healthcare costs don't go from $800 a month to $1,600, from $8,000 a year to $23,000 or whatever the situation is, because the average will go up over 100%.
They must have it all. ICE went from deporting the worst of the worst to throwing grandmothers onto linoleum and zip-tying American children. And everyone's just supposed to be cool with the new masked, incredibly well-funded paramilitary group. And Democrats are just reduced to petty gestures of restroom resistance.
We'd rather not hold people to have affordable health care. Just give them the bare minimum. Subsidize it just a little bit so that we can afford to go to the doctor when we get sick. But they're perfectly willing to give $50,000 signing bonuses to ICE officials so that they can shoot pastors in the head with pepper balls. What?
Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem posted that she was blocked from entering a city building in Illinois.
Can we use the restroom? No, you cannot. Okay. We can? Please don't open the door. Okay. Please don't open the door. Okay. All right. Thank you. Interesting. That's what Governor Pritzker says is cooperation and keeping people safe.
Victory is ours!
So there it is. They kept Chrissy Nome from using the bathroom. All right, well, hey, a win is a win. Here's Marjorie Taylor Greene picking sides, and she's on the side of American people with regard to this issue.
Such a close ally of the president's. Are you worried about being on the opposite side of him on some of these issues?
I've supported the president for the longest time. I was one of the only Republicans in Washington that did not turn my back on him after January 6th. I traveled the country spending millions of my own dollars supporting Donald Trump, helping him get elected. And I think I'm still supporting him now by saying Republicans in the House and Senate need to do their job.
How funny is it that you have to preface all of that just to say you're fighting for the American people? Like, folks are so afraid of offending dear leader Trump. So I spend millions supporting him, but on this one little thing, please, sir, with your plenary power, please, sir, on this one little thing, I don't want people to go broke when they get the measles.
And come up with a solution for the American people. And I'm supporting him with my policies. Being against the Ukraine war, he was saying he wanted to end that war from day one. Being against foreign wars, he's always said he's against foreign wars.
Well, he's starting a war in the Caribbean Sea. Okay, so obviously not exactly true, but she has to do this. This is the kabuki theater that you have to do in order to please the king if you're going to go against him in one way. It's like that compliment sandwich. You have to give two compliments, but as you kind of, say, well, maybe tariffs on good, but you look great in your, like, what are you talking about? Here's Mike Johnson. And again, Mike Johnson, the only reason he's in power here, Speaker of the House, is because he would do Trump's. He's a bootlicker. That's the only reason he's in power. He's an echo chamber for Trump. He really came out of nowhere as this just nut job who's and he's pretty good at his job. As far as he'll really wax some shit, you know what I mean? He really cleans it up, but you can only go so far. Here is his own, voters calling in saying you're killing us with this.
Johnson. So my question or comments are related to what you said yesterday about not being open to pass any legislation to ensure that military gets paid. I'm sure you can tell by my voice I'm very shaky. Just want you to hear a little bit about my family. I have two medically fragile children. I have a husband who actively serves this country. He suffers from PTSD from his 2 tours in Afghanistan. If we see a lapse in pay come the 15th, my children do not get to get the medication that's needed for them to live their life, because we live paycheck to paycheck. I heard you earlier say that you side with President Trump on anything that he says. Well, I just read an article this morning that said he absolutely wholeheartedly believes that there needs to be legislation put in so that we do not miss a paycheck. You have the power to do that.
And they'll say, well, the Democrats could vote on this thing to be opened back up. But what the Democrats will say is no. By keeping this shut down, it's our only negotiating tool that we have to leverage helping people out in the long term. You want to get them paid this week, or you want to make sure that people save $10,000, $20,000 a year on their health care costs?
And as a Republican, I'm very disappointed in my party, and I'm very disappointed in you, because you do have the power to call the House back. Wow. You did that, or you refused to do that just for a show. I am begging you to pass this legislation. My kids could die. We don't have the credit because of the medical bills that I have to pay regularly. You could stop this, and you could be the one that could say military's getting paid. And I think that it is awful, and the audacity of someone who makes 6 figures a year to do this to military families is insane.
It is insane. And Mike Johnson gets universal health care paid for by you and me. And you're going to see an uprising by people, regardless of their political identity, because the one thing that Trump's political identity is, can you feed your family? That's when we're in survival mode. And sadly, it takes moments like this for a lot of people to empathize with others that have already been in this position. People that realize their health care is going to go up and they can't afford the simple necessities in the richest country in the world that we all take for granted. And nobody, first of all, nobody who served our country should be living paycheck to paycheck. I don't think anybody with a full-time job should be living paycheck to paycheck. But this is the world we're in. This is how on the fritz people are. And I'm telling you right now, those out there that are giving tax cuts to the ultra wealthy, your time is limited in office because people are going to be voting you the fuck out. It just took a little bit of the find out stage for them to realize how bad you really are. That's it for us today. We'll be back in the morning here twice a day, every day, pop culture and politics. I'm Dave. This is The Rush.